tax since 1792.
Hello, my name is Allison Rose Munn. I am on a mini road trip through southern Pennsylvania and today stopped in charming Bedford for lunch and to my delight learned a bit of American history. The Revolutionary War left the newly formed United States of America approximately $70 million in debt. The new country's government tried to repay those debts by taxing imports, but by 1790 found that it could not feasibly raise those taxes any higher and still had a great amount of outstanding debt. And so, in 1791, the Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, suggested taxing distilled spirits. This would be the first tax the new government put upon a domestic product, and some American citizens were not happy. This new tax soon became known as the whiskey tax, as the most popular spirit of the time was American whiskey. Distilleries in the well-populated eastern region didn't much mind the tax. It didn't burden them. But for those on the western frontier, then the Appalachia region, the tax was a great burden. Out there, folks were much more poor than in the east, and many distilleries were small. They were simply a way for farmers to make some extra cash with their surplus grains. Whiskey was even considered to be a form of currency for many of those who were cash poor in the West. They couldn't afford this new tax, and so they refused to pay. Many Westerners noted that they had fought in the American Revolution for the belief of no taxation without representation. They felt they were not being represented in the new government, and this whiskey tax was just one example. Every state with a Western front experienced resistance to this new tax, from Pennsylvania to Georgia, but the real showdown occurred in Pennsylvania. Anger was growing in the state, and Western farmers were starting to show their anger with violence. Tax collectors were attacked, rebels gathered together to show force to federal marshals, skirmishes ensued, and the anger even spread to the city of Pittsburgh. At the same time, the capital of the newly formed United States was located in Pennsylvania, in the city of Philadelphia, and the government saw it as an embarrassment and possible political crisis that people in their state were creating a ruckus over a federal taxation. And so, on October 19th, 1794, 3 years after the tax had been imposed, President George Washington rode into Bedford, Pennsylvania, leading an army of almost 14,000 men. This would be the first and only time an American president commanded an army in the field. Espy House would be Washington's headquarters, a house that still stands today. In Bedford, Washington met with leaders of the rebellion and then moved on, confident that the American militia would be able to handle the resistance. Washington's march through Pennsylvania succeeded in suppressing the Whiskey Rebellion. That success is considered by many historians to be the definitive moment when the American government displayed its strength of government and control. For many in the West, however, they would still continue to refuse to pay taxes on their distilled spirits, and many were energized to join the political parties that were just starting to form, using their vote to rebel rather than using violence. My name is Allison Rose Munn, and thank you for joining me.
My daddy, he made whiskey. My granddaddy, he did too. We ain't paid no whiskey tax since 1792.